What's going on, guys? Welcome to this training. I have a very simple question to ask you. Do you want to become a millionaire? And the reason why this question is simple, because the answer is obviously yes. Who doesn't want to become a millionaire? But the thing is, you might not realize how simple becoming a millionaire can actually be. It just takes a little bit of hard work, a little bit of patience, and extreme organization. I'm going to show you exactly how anyone can become a millionaire in this training. Even if you're working a 9 to 5, even if you're making $5,000 a month, it does not matter. If you follow the steps in this training, you will become a millionaire guaranteed. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about my journey and how I built a 7-figure net worth at the age of 26. So when I was 16 years old, I read a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and it absolutely was groundbreaking because at the time I was in high school, I was looking into colleges, and I just could not figure out what career path was going to be the right path for me. I just didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And when I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, my whole world opened up and I realized I want to be a millionaire. That's what I want to do when I grow up. And so when all my friends were graduating high school, if you were to ask them, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? They want to be accountants, lawyers, firefighters. If you asked me, I would have said, I want to be a millionaire. Now, the problem was I didn't know how I was going to do it. And so I started reading more and more books on how I could become a millionaire. And I started learning that literally anyone could become a millionaire so long as they learn the simple steps and follow the process that I'm going to lay out in this training. And it is the exact process that allowed me to build a 7-figure net worth at the age of 26 years old. Now, again, if you were to ask my 16-year-old self, hey, could you ever imagine yourself being 26 years old and a millionaire? My answer would have been yes. The problem was I just didn't know how to do it. But what I discovered was that the surefire way to become a millionaire, even when you are not making a ton of money, is by investing, right? This was the first skill I ever learned. I didn't learn how to build a 7-figure business. I wasn't trying to make a ton of money overnight and get rich super quick. I wanted a guaranteed surefire way to become a millionaire in the course of my lifetime. Because the biggest things that motivate me is financial security. I want to feel safe. I want to make sure that I have enough money in the bank. I want to make sure that I am okay in case of any emergencies happen. And I also want to be able to be present when I raise my family and not have to stress out about finances. And so that was the number one goal that I had set for myself. On this journey, I learned more and more about investing, and I thought, man, I need to start investing now. And the problem was I just didn't have any money, right? 18 years old, going to open up a stock account with $500 to my name wasn't going to get me very far. So I started working. I got a job at a yogurt shop. I got a job bussing tables so that I can start saving money to invest. But I realized very quickly that saving $500, $1,000 a month, sure, it was going to get me there, but I knew I can get there a lot faster. And so that got me into learning more and more about other ways to make money, making money online, starting my own business, which eventually led me into the online space that allowed me to make money very, very quickly so that I was able to save and invest more. The answer to the question of how do you become a millionaire, even as a fitness coach, is by investing. Now, I'm going to show you guys how you can start investing and how powerful investing actually is so you can have your mind opened up, because most people have never been taught this in their life before. Most people have never been shown the numbers to show them what's actually possible. And when I take my students through this and I plug in how much they're making versus how much their expenses are versus how much they're saving profitably after taxes, I show that what happens if they're to invest that money over time, their mind is blown because they're seeing for the first time that having 7 figures net worth is actually possible for them. Most people have never been taught this. So I'm very, very excited to show this to you guys. But without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into it. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to go through a few scenarios, financial scenarios, and then plug those numbers into a calculator that will show you what happens when you actually invest your money. So I first want to show you the possibility, and then I'm going to teach you where exactly to start. Now, for the sake of this example, we're going to start with someone who is 25 years old, because if you're watching this training, I'm assuming that you're probably in your mid-20s. I think 25 is a really good age to start. I started investing when I was 18 and I have zero regrets. The younger you start, the better. They say, the best time to plant a seed was 10 years ago. The second best time is today. So if you're watching this right now and your goal is to become a millionaire, you need to take action now. now. You cannot wait 6 months. You cannot wait a year. You cannot wait 5 years, because every single year that passes, you're losing out on growth opportunity that you have to grow your wealth. So we're going to start with the example of someone who's 25 years old. And we're also going to start with the example of someone who is a fitness coach, right? Everyone here is likely fitness coaching, or you have your own business, or even if you're 9 to 5 and you want to learn how to invest your money, we're not going to get crazy with the amount of numbers that we're investing. We're going to use very, very conservative numbers to show you exactly what's possible for the average person. So let's say that you're 25 years old, and let's just say that you have a $10,000 net worth. So you got $10,000 in cash laying around. Now, $10,000 isn't too hard to save up. I was able to save up $10,000 as a busser, rent. I sacrificed a little bit. I ate at grocery outlet. Like, you can budget your way to save $10,000, and you can do it within a year. It's not difficult. You're just going to have to make some sacrifices. Now, let's give an example of someone who is a fitness coach. You're making, $5,000 a month, right? Again, super conservative. This isn't too difficult. We're going to actually play around with more numbers here to show you exactly how drastically your changes in these numbers can make in your life. And let's just say after expenses, after everything's totaled up, you're left with $1,000 a month to invest, right? So you're profitable $1,000. Now, instead of going out and spending this, you're going to choose to invest it. So we're going to give you a couple examples here, but we're going to start very, very conservative, right? $10,000 is not a lot to save up to start. $5,000 a month is not very difficult to make. You can make that as a busser. You can get creative and make $5,000 a month. You can even start your own business like in PTBI, and we'll teach you how to build a business up to $5,000 a month. And then saving $1,000 a month isn't going to be too difficult. You will have to make a lot of sacrifices in the beginning though. For me, my number one goal was investing. And so I budgeted and I saved and I made sacrifices in my life so I can maximize the amount of dollars that I was saving each month so I can invest, right? Now, this is a website. I don't know what happened here. This is a website called the Calculator site, right? I play around with this every single day. I kid you not. Sometimes Megan will get mad at me because I'll be driving and I'm on the Calculator site plugging in numbers to see, what my net worth is going to be. I'm like, oh, if I save this much, what's my net worth going to be? And so you want to go into compound interest. Compound interest is pretty much the universal law of investing. I'm not going to get into it because I'm going to give you guys resources to teach you everything about the universal laws of investing and how they work. I just want to show you what's possible. So we're going to use the compound interest calculator. We're going to plug in our numbers. We're going to start with $10,000, and the stock market on average grows about 8 to 10%. So we're just going to say 10% conservatively. Let's say that you are 25 years old and you want to retire at 60. So you are going to put in 35 years and you're going to save $1,000 a month, right? How much do we think this is going to grow into? Just saving $1,000 a month. That's it. You're just saving and investing $1,000 a month. And by the time you're 60 years old, this will turn into $4 million. $4 million. By the time you're 60 years old, it will turn into $4 million. A lot of people, like, as a fitness coach, right? Like, we're not talking about, being a financial banker making $300,000 a month or $300,000 a year on Wall Street. Like, we're talking about doing something that you love every single day for the rest of your life and just saving that money and investing it and allowing it to grow into a fund that you can retire on and never have to work a day in your life. Now, I'm going to show you guys the 3% rule later in this training, which will actually, show you exactly how you can live off this money, right? But let's go ahead and take another example. Let's go ahead and say that you were very profitable. You have a $10,000 or $20,000 nest egg, and you are able to make $10,000 a month, and you're able to save $2,000, right? At the same age, 25 years old, right? So we're going to start with 20,000. I just want to show you guys how drastically these numbers change when you're able to save more and start with a bigger nest egg as well. So with $20,000 started at 25 years old, saving $2,000 a month for 35 years, this turns into a whopping $8 million. Most people, when they retire, have barely enough to make a paycheck, right? Whereas if you were to start with $8 million at 60 years old, you're set for life. And all you need to do is just save and invest your money. Now, let's take another example, right? Let's just say that we had a fucking great year. We're able to save up $50,000. You're making, $20,000 a month, and you're able to save, say, $5,000 a month. This will go crazy. So 50,000, and you're able to save 5,000, $20 million. What? That's crazy. And that's not that difficult to wrap your head around, right? Most people are thinking, how do I make $1 million this year? But it's like, dude, you don't need to make $1 million this year. If you just slowly invest your money over time, the compound interest will take your money and allow it to grow, and to a point to where you literally don't have to work ever again, right? Now, let me show you my personal goal. I have a 7-figure net worth. My goal is to have a $3 million net worth by the time I'm 30. So I got about 2 years to hit that. It's going to take a lot of work, a lot of sacrifice, but I think I can do it. So let me show you what I'm working with. So I want a $3 million net worth by the time I'm 30. And that gives me about, to be honest, I'm going to be real with you guys. I don't want to work a day past 50. I really don't. My number one goal is to raise a family, be healthy, be young for as long as possible. I want to have enough money by the time I'm 50 to where I don't have to work. I can just spend my days making YouTube videos, writing books, and working out. And I can also travel and, spend time with my future wife, who is Megan, and my kids. So I'm just going to give myself 20 years, right? I'm going to be 30 in 2 years. I'm going to give myself 20 years to invest. My number one goal is to have $3 million invested by the time I'm 30. And for those 20 years, I want to invest $10,000 a month. And that's pretty conservative. I could probably save more than that, but I just want to show you what I'm aiming for. $30 million by the time I'm 50. Now, I used to play around with this so much to be like, okay, this is where I am now. If I were to follow this pace, what would it turn into? Okay, now if I want to have this much money by the time I'm this old, how much money do I need to save and invest in order for me to have that much money, right? So play around with this. Really, really ask yourself, how much money do you have right now? How much money are you able to save? If you were to save and invest, and then also pick the age that like, hey, I don't want to work past 50. I don't want to work past 60. Some people don't mind working past 60 or 70. That's totally fine. But figure it out what those numbers are for you. What I would do first is take what you have now, take what you're able to invest, and plug it into this calculator, see what it's going to turn into by the time you want to retire. For most people, it's going to be 50 or 60. Now, figure out how much money do you want to retire with, right? If you don't want to work a day past 60 and you want to have $5 million in the bank, figure out how much money you need to invest monthly in order for you to build that nest egg, right? So this is what we're looking with. Now, I want to show you something that's really freaking crazy. This is like gonna blow your mind. So the stock market on average grows about 10%, right? This is on average over the course of 180 years. Some years are higher. Some years you're going to get like a 30, 40, 50% growth. Some years you're going to see a decline, like 2023. My net worth was literally cut in half for the entire year because of an economic downturn. But the law of 3% states that you can live off of 3% of your investments for the rest of your life and never run out of money, ever. Like that's essentially the law. Because let's say on average, your nest egg grows 10%. And you withdraw, that means you take away 3%, an ATM, you take it to live off of. That still leaves you with a net positive 7% growth, right? So even though you're taking money out of your investments, your account and money is still growing year after year. So I want to show you what that turns into. So let's just say at 50 years old, I'm going to change the numbers here. Let's just say at 50 years old, you have $10 million, right? Now, if you were to live off of this $10 million for 10 years and you withdrew 50% or 3% is going to be $300,000 a year, right? So that means that you get to live off of $300,000 a year. What happens to this money after 10 years of you withdrawing $300,000? And guys, $300,000 is a lot of money. Like, let's be honest. You can raise a family, you can travel, you can do all the things that you want. That comes out to around $20,000 to $30,000 a month. That's like, you don't need more than that. What happens to this $10 million after you withdraw it for 10 years? That $10 million still turns into $22 million. So if you have $10 million by the time you're 50 and you live off of $300,000 a year, which is more than enough money, by the time you're 60, you will still end up with $22 million. Now let's do this again. Let's say that in another 10 years, now you're 60, you got 22, you want to take out more money. You want to buy more things, right? 22, 179, 788 times 3%. So at this point, you can withdraw. Let's just say that you're now 60 years old. You can withdraw. You're going to give it another 10 years. So 60 to 70, you can withdraw $393,000 a year. Like literally just take it out of your account. After 10 years, your account will still grow to $50 million. That is crazy. And you don't have to work. That's just money that you're able to take out and retire off of. Now, I know that there's probably some of you saying, yeah, but I don't want to wait until I'm 50. I want the money now. It's like, well, I would rather guarantee that I have that money and have that peace of mind and work on my health right now so that by the time I'm 50, by the time I'm 60, I'm still healthier than most 30-year-olds. I know some of you guys are seeing me do my mobility every single day at 3:30 a.m. The reason is I plan on living for a very, very long time. Right. And I would rather guarantee that I never have to work a day past 50 and still be young and mobile to travel, to have fun, to have my youth than to say, oh, well, I don't want to wait that long. I'm just going to spend the money because, fucking whatever excuses people come up with. I would rather know for a fact that at 70 years old, I have $50 million in the bank account, maybe even $100 million, right? And, leave my grandkids, spoil the shit out of my grandkids, be able to be young and have fun with them, be able to travel with my fiance up until we're 80 years old. And, that's going to be a long, long, happy life. Now, let's just say you let this sit for 20 years. So let's just say you never increase your withdrawal. So you take out 300,000 for 20 years, 55 million, let's say 30 years. So by the time you're 80 years old, $144 million. That's crazy. All right, let's go back to the conservative number. So we're going to go 15,000. That's what we're starting with. Let's say that you're 25. You're going to give yourself 35 years. And let's say that you're going to deposit $2,000 a month. So that's going to be $8 million by the time you're 60. So 8 million. And these numbers aren't crazy. This isn't like impossible to get. So 8 million times 3%, meaning that you can now withdraw. Let's say that you're going to withdraw for 20 years and you can now withdraw 240,000, right? That's still $20,000 a month. That's pretty good. By the time you're 70, you have $17 million. I'm just going to let that sink in. That's off of $15,000 initial investment and only $2,000 a month. And then by the time you're 60, you can start withdrawing from your account. You can withdraw $20,000 a month and that number will still grow to 17 million. Now let's just give it 20 years. So let's say by the time you're 80, you're still withdrawing $20,000 a month. That's crazy. Now, I'm going to show you guys how you can get started. I'm going to show you guys the book that literally changed it all for me. This book right here is the book that opened up my eyes on how to actually invest. If you guys want to learn how to actually get started, I'm telling you, you need to read this book. It is a mandatory book. It is a lot of pages, right? I'm not sure how many pages it is. I think it's like 600 or something like that. But I'm telling you, it's worth it. It taught me what to invest in, how to invest, how to open up my accounts, how to manage my money, things like that. Another really great book is this book. Well, Rich Dad, Poor Dad is a great one. This is a really great book to read to teach you about investing. This is another really great one. Richest Man in Babylon. This is, more of like a story being told of ancient times of how people got rich back in the day. But the lessons and the principles in this book are still very much applicable today. Another really great book to read. Let's see. Psychology of Money. I've read this book twice. It's fantastic. I love this book. It will really teach you everything you need to know about how to manage your money, budgeting, psychology of money, etc. And then lastly, what I will teach you is Bitcoin Standard. This one's a little bit more about the shifting world into Bitcoin, but it does talk about the fundamentals of money and investing. And so these are my top books on money. If you guys ever wanted to know, hey, how does Zakk know this much? It's because I read these books, right? And I'm on my way to building a multi-8-figure net worth. By the time I'm 50 years old, I will never have to work again. Knock on wood, I make it there. And I'm going to live the best life I could ever imagine. And it's because of these books. So start with these books, open up an investment account, start investing. Let's just say, again, I'm just going to run the numbers by you one more time, right? So let's say 35 years, you're investing $2,000 a month. You might want more than this, and that's totally fine. But I want to show you how far a little bit can go. With that being said, guys, really appreciate the time you took to watch this training. Go out there, make money, invest money, live a happy life. Peace.